Right, we all there, gang. We all there.
I'm here.
We've got 54 and counting. We're doing good. Building these numbers up. People are going to be coming in hot. Friday afternoon. Where else would you be? All right. Has everyone cracked their beers? Are we good to go?
Correct.
Mate, keen. Let's go. Let's do this.
All right. So it's 5 o'clock. So I think we'll get into it. So look, I'd just like to say, I'd just like to welcome everyone first of all. As I said just earlier, I've officially joined all my Sydney friends and or New South Wales and Queensland friends back in lockdown. And do you know what? It's good to be here. Not really, but anyway, I digress. So yeah, I want to say welcome to everyone. We've got a couple speakers here today, Joshy Evans and Erwan. Do you know what, Erwan? I'm not going to try to pronounce your last name. I want you to pronounce it. I want you to pronounce it for me.
It's French. Just get it right.
Yeah.
Camaret.
Yes, mate.
Is it that
you
easy?
nailed it. It's a silent T because my old man is from France, so
Yeah,
we're all Frenchies.
That's if you said gun to your head, like, and have a guess, because I knew you had a bit of French there somewhere.
Yeah.
If you said gun to your head, have a crack, I would have said Camaret.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Talk it up, mate.
You're not that cultured, Sav, mate. Come on.
Fucking no. All right. Anyway, and look, just before we dive right into it, boys, I just wanted to look. It wouldn't be a FinTwit Spaces event, and I wouldn't be a FinTwit member if I wasn't pumping my own book. So I'm going to go ahead and pump my own book here. As a lot of you know, I'm a hip hop artist. I put a new song out yesterday. It's called Showdown. If everyone, after you finish this little Spaces event, if everyone can go blast that out tonight and let me know what you think, I'd be super appreciative. It's a banger. If you're into hip hop, it's going to be right up your alley. And make sure you play it loud. All right, that's it. I'm done with pumping my own book. Now on to the show. So today's
Nice.
Yeah. Sorry, had to do it.
You had to, of course.
Yeah. So this week's topic, we settled on staying in the game. Now, what I meant by that was because I know a lot of the people kind of listening at home, or are at certain levels in their or certain positions in their trading career. Some of them just starting, some of them super successful, some of them close to fucking throwing the towel in. Things have been quite challenging over the last 3 or 4 months. A lot of the action that we saw over the previous 12 to 18 months hasn't been there, and some of us have found it difficult. And I just kind of wanted to talk around the topic of staying in the game, not throwing in the towel too early, and basically keeping your head up when shit gets real tough. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about this week, staying in the game. And I thought Joshy and Erwan could help me go through that. So I'd like to introduce the guys first. Joshy, I'll start with you, mate. Just for the people listening at home, give me a little bit, just a brief background on, how long you've been trading, how you got into it, and kind of where you're at now.
Yeah, mate, no stress. So I got into. Well, actually, I just want to first say, how about that right in?
What?
That was something else.
Oh, thank you.
No dramas. All right, so I got into trading. Through something that's similar to most people. You have a little bit of cash and you want to sort of get into the market. So, and you don't want to just see your money slowly go up. You want to put it all on black. So I went in. I got in around sort of the 2015 level. Got into sort of shitty gold stock, which actually paid off a bit, and then I was able to turn that into another spec in the sort of second lithium run, and I did well off that with AVZ. And then I had a few people know that I got crook with Hodgkins in 2017. And I was working full time back then, and then so I had a fair bit of time off for chemo and radiation, and then I was like, I went back to work, and I just struggled. I actually struggled so hard, like getting back to my former self. Like I had this brain fog and all sort of stuff, and I really felt like I was almost back to square one with radiography, which is what I did. And so I went. I thought to myself, I'm like, I'm in this position where I've got a bit of coin from these specs, and I was doing 1 day a week trading, so I was actually working part time. I'd negotiated with work that I'd have Wednesdays off, and then because I was struggling with work, I was like, well, I'm going to have to teach myself sort of from the start, which is what I was feeling. Well, I might as well try and teach myself in trading because, I've always got radiography. It's there. Anyway, so I went to full-time trading mid-2018. And yes, end of the first year, things started getting pretty good. I started having a good run at it. And then, yes, I was, happy with how things were going. But, looking back now, I was probably lucky. I was putting the work in, but at the same time, I was getting lucky with just how the market conditions were.
Can you just give me an example of what would you like at the time? You saw it as like, I'm doing this, but like looking back, you could probably attribute some of it to the conditions really helping you.
Yeah, so like I think this is when like BNPL was really sort of like Zip was starting to come in. I remember one day there was just like Zip had news and it was I think it was pretty unexpected. I can't remember the date, but I remember just putting like 10,000 in the match and it just ripped and I was like within a minute I was up 4.5K and I was just like, this is the chalice. This is the chalice.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, and then I had a lot of confidence from that, and with that confidence, I still think I was probably not. I wasn't getting ahead of myself. I still knew that it wasn't just going to be this easy, but I started feeling like, all right, maybe I have sort of. I'm starting to earn my seat at the table. And then. I had a few weeks. I read the whole month was like it was a really decent month for me, and I was like, this is where it's at. I'm putting in the work. I'm doing my reviews every day. But
Oots.
Yeah, that's and then it kind of got to the point where I sort of started realizing that okay, market conditions aren't always like this. It was conditions. It wasn't my skill or lack thereof. And don't get me wrong. I did do well enough that I put myself in a position to do well, but the conditions didn't last, and I kind of got to the point where I was like, shit, there's still a lot more to learn, which I did know, but at the same time, it was that sort of the reckoning, I guess, where you're just like, man, I've got I know nothing really, because that's what the market can do that to you. You feel like you know nothing.
Yeah. And when was this? Sorry, was this like?
So that was late 2018.
Yep.
And sorry. This was late 2019. Late 2019 was when I really started to pick it up.
Right.
Yep.
Beauty. And then, if you want to kind of fast forward, I suppose we'll dive into like the current situation maybe in a little bit, but I just kind of wanted to get a little bit of background first.
Sure.
Erwan, what about yourself, mate? Joshy, just before I switch over, how long have you been trading to this point in time?
So I was trading. I was dabbling in sort of specs from 2015 to 2017. I had started doing that little bit of that 1 day a week.
Yep.
But sort of that I got into full time mid 2018.
Yeah.
And so what's that like? 3
quick math.
3 years. Quick math. 3 years. 3 years now.
Yeah.
And that's what I say. Like proper trading, 3 years.
Yeah. Okay. And then so just to give me a little bit of an idea, when was that realization, like that overconfidence? Maybe let's not call it overconfidence, but you're definitely feeling yourself, right? When did you get whacked on the head by the market or your own ego to say, hey, maybe I need to reassess. Maybe I need to change some stuff.
Well, yep, 100%. And I know the exact moment. It was the start of COVID when things really started hitting us. So like probably mid-Feb 2020 last year. So I went, I was just like, Qantas, I'm shorting this. Like this is, this could be it. And I got way too big too quickly.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I don't know why, it gapped up. Like, so it was going to be a sort of, a swing short. I was really thinking this could go.
Yeah.
But then one day, so I think I was set around, like 650 level, but I was so big, and then one day it just gapped up out of nowhere.
So you're swinging this thing? You're swinging it?
And I got blown out of the water, and that really that was a massive sort of, kick in the guts where I was just like, man, you're like, you don't know risk management, you don't know, what's happening with the market. And that really sort of, that dialed me back in. That, those little gophers, that gopher game where you smack them on the head. Yeah,
little whack on the head.
Yeah, whack-a-moles, that's it.
Yeah. Okay. Beauty. All right. Well, I'll jump over to Erwan now, mate. Give me a bit of background. How long you been trading? When did you start? And yeah.
Yeah, of course. Quite the hospital pass there from Josh, surviving like these amazing stories about surviving Hodgkin's and everything. Like, how do I follow up on that? Like, my story's going to be very, very
Come on, mate, you got something. Surely you got
something.
Surviving being French.
It's not easy in Australia. You got something against French. I don't get it.
Sorry.
Cool. Mate, I'll really summarize it really quickly, but So I didn't get into trading from swinging or punting or whatever it was. I was actually a recruitment manager for a company called Michael Page. So anyone who's listening now who ever applied for a job will probably know Michael Page. It's just a big English recruitment firm. I joined out of uni, and I actually did quite well with them. And they transferred me to China. I was there for 4 years in Beijing. And then after that, I transferred to Chicago, and I was there for 2 years. And that's probably where the trading interest came from. So I was working in downtown Chicago, and you guys should all know that, Chicago is a mecca for options and commodities trading of all sorts. And over time, over 2 years when I was there, I just started befriending people. Everyone that I knew was somehow related to trading or investments or funds or something, like venture capitalists, whatever it is. And I was just like, man, I'm in the wrong game here, I remember like looking out the building of my office, and it was the Chicago Board of Trade building, which is this huge, imposing Gothic building in downtown Chicago. And everyone's with their swagger suits, and everyone's just balling. And I was like, here I am, like a little recruiter guy. And I was like, I felt so stink.
You wanted a bit of that pimp action.
Yeah. So I actually befriended a guy called John. I remember he was like 33 or something, and he was retired.
Shout out, John.
Yeah. And I remember he was like, he was an options trader who'd retired at 33 years old. And I was like, mate, what's the deal here? Like, how much are you making? Tell me more about everything. And we became friends. And I remember it was like one of the nights, we were on the piss, like in some shitty little Irish pub in downtown Chicago. And it was like that scene from The Wolf of Wall Street. When the guy like Jonah Hill goes to DiCaprio, goes, show me a paycheck for $70,000. I quit my job and I work for you.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing. I remember saying to John, I was like, mate, you show me how much money you've made from options or just trading in general. I quit and I go into trading. And he pulls his phone out and he like goes into his little Bank of America, checking account. It was like his everyday checking account where he buys milk and goes to Coles with it. And he shows it to me. And it was like, he was multiple time millionaire. Like it was a lot of zeros there.
Holy
shit. Okay. And I was just like, oh, fuck, I'm in the wrong game. Like I'm in the wrong game. I've got to do something about this.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. 3 months later, I quit my job, and 4 months later, I moved back to Australia. And that was 2018. So yeah, I've been full time since then. I literally just went all in on trading. I was just like, look, I want to teach myself. I'm just gonna go for it. Started reaching
Yeah.
out to people.
Yeah.
So that was beginning 2018. So yeah, that was 3.5 years ago.
Beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, fucking just bet on yourself, stick it in the middle, and just see how we go. And you're still here. You're doing it. You stayed in the game.
Yeah, yeah. It was one of those things where it was like I was at a crossroad in my life, and I was like, I don't like what I'm doing. I like what they're doing, and I have one bullet in the chamber, and I'm just gonna go for it, like back against the wall,
I love that.
and just really, like it's one of those situations, like those crossroads in your life. Sometimes you just come to them, and I thought to myself, knowing my own personality, I can't half-ass it. Like I can't go like I'll swing a bit and then I'll do this.
Right.
Like it's just me. Like it's different for everyone, but for me, I was just like, it's either 100% or nothing. So I went full throttle.
Fucking oath. Okay.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you, Erwan.
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right. Well, let's. I reckon now that we've got a bit of context on the boys, I reckon we jump into it. So, look, I just wanted to start with this thought, right? And actually, before we go there, I just want to give everybody just a tiny bit of my context. I know I'm kind of the host or whatever, and it's like, whatever, host, shut up and ask us questions.
Nah, hit us, man.
But yeah, I'm just thinking. So basically, in August, maybe September, 2019, I had by September 2019, I'd been trading for 1 year, and I moved down to Melbourne. I'd moved down to Melbourne only a month earlier. Represent. And I was struggling trading. I wasn't making any money. I was basically I was basically just burning through savings. I was basically break even throughout, like, June, July kind of thing, and then heading into August 2019, I thought this is my moment, to like really to really crack it, to really go for it. And so I bought a new desk at the beginning of August 2019. I bought a new desk. I bought like a new chair. I kind of splashed out a little bit, and I thought I'm gonna make things really comfortable for myself. And I spent, maybe I didn't really have the money to spend, but I probably spent like $600 on a desk and a chair just to make sure that I'm like I had the right tools for my job, kind of thing. And then August started relatively well. I think the first week I might have been up like 3K, maybe 4K or something like that. And then it was the Monday after the first week, so it was the second Monday of earnings. And on the Sunday there was a DJ event, and I was so zoned into earnings and wanting to like perform that I went to this event. I only had like 1 or 2 beers, but I was like, I need to be back home and in bed by like whatever 9 p.m. so I could get up early on Monday and keep crushing earnings. And what happened? And I was totally fine with that. Everyone was having fun. Like my friends were DJing, my family were out. Everyone was having fun. Everyone's like on the APKs and having a good one. But I decided to like do the responsible thing, because I'm like, I need to really make the most of this earnings. So I went home. I was in bed by like 9 o'clock, and I was really proud of myself for doing that, right? And it doesn't seem like a big deal, but it was to me. And what happened was, everyone who was at this like DJ event, all my friends, all my family, I said cappuccinos there, Scotty. So everyone was at this DJ event. They actually came to my house after the DJ event finished at like 10 o'clock, and they all kicked on. And I'm not talking like a couple of people. I'm talking like 30 odd people, maybe 40 people just came back to my house for a Sunday night kick on, and everyone was high as a fucking kite, making noise, loud as hell. Like, honestly, it was the most stressful thing ever. And I kept coming down, just asking everyone, hey guys, gotta be up early. I just put a lot of pressure on myself to succeed that earnings. And I came down, hey guys. Anyway, no one listened to me. No one gave a fuck. So the party went on all throughout the night. I got fuck all sleep. I tried to fight my brother because he was just being a cockhead. Everyone was not being real fun, and it led to me just having no sleep. Anyway, I went into the Monday, and because I had this mentality of like, I need a trade, I need to do well. I put a lot of pressure on myself when I was trading. I took stuff that I shouldn't have. I was lacking sleep, and I kind of semi blew up. I kind of, basically torched the first week of earnings in that day, and it just mentally crippled me because I'd put so much pressure on myself, and and something that was kind of out of my control was this house party, and yeah, it just really, really, really whacked me in the chest, and I basically dribbled my way through that earnings, and I might have got to the end of it making like maybe $1,000. I probably scratched that whole month. And so I got to the end of August and the beginning of September, things hadn't really changed, and I was like, well, this is really not working out. Like I'm really struggling, and I wasn't ready to like quit trading, but I knew that I had to do something because I wasn't making any money. So I went and got myself a job at a bar. And what I would do is I would like work this bar job 3 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. I'd get home by 12. I'd be asleep by like 12:30. Then I'd get up at like say 7, trade the open until like 12 o'clock say, and then get on a tram, head into the bar job and do that again. And basically for like 5 months, maybe 6 months, I did that schedule where I would trade the morning, work a bar job, get home, sleep, wake up, trade the morning, and I was fucking like the bar job probably putting in like 35, 40, up to 50 hours a week there, and then maybe like 30 to 40 hours of trading. I was really being stretched. And mentally, physically, emotionally, I just had, after 5 months, I just had nothing. So it came to like, was it 5 months? September, October, November, December. Yeah, so it was like mid-January. And I basically turned to Fabo, who's my mentor, and I said to him, man, I got to quit. Like, I can't do this. My relationships are failing. I'm making no money. I'm not committed to my physical health. Like, my health was really shocking. I had to go to hospital a couple of times because I had like heart palpitations because I was like staying up late to do these bar shifts and drinking a lot of Red Bull and popping modafinil and shit like that, and then getting no sleep because I'd come home and I couldn't get to sleep, and then I'd have to wake up early, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I said to him, hey, dude, I can't do this. I've got to fucking pull the pin. And he gave me like some really sound advice. He supported me. But basically, the point of that whole long-winded shit, and I'm sorry to really go deep on that, but the point of that whole long-winded shit was that was my way of staying in the game. Right, I got that job. I was just like, look, I need to stay. I know that trading is my path out. I know that trading is my future. I know that trading is my key to, whatever I see in my future, my success, whatever. But it wasn't working at that point in time. I just knew that I had to stay in the game long enough for my wins to catch up to me, for my lessons to catch up to me, for, whatever I thought I was learning to actually start making sense and clicking. So anyway, that's a long-winded way of saying, stay in the game, which is our kind of theme here. I didn't mean to talk that long. I'm sorry. I got a bit emotional there. But yeah, basically it came to February 2020, which was obviously last year, the beginning of COVID and earnings, where I decided to like really start honing in back in on trading. And from there, like, it all started to click. It all started to make sense. And I stand here today, a full-time trader. Obviously, the last 3 months hasn't been so kind to me, but this is what I do for a living now. This is my job, and I think I'm pretty fucking good at it. And I would not be here right now if it wasn't for going through that 6 months of like, hard work and really slogging my ass to fucking stay in the game. So, look, guys, I just wanted to fucking paint that little bit of a picture there. Yeah, sorry for talking so long, but we'll keep it moving.
Damn, Sav, that was some powerful stuff, man. I think right now you have about 100 people who are like quietly crying for you and just so happy for what you just did. That was amazing. You should run for politics, man. That was powerful.
Yeah, it was. And do you know what the weirdest thing is? I can't hear. I don't know if anyone's actually listening. Because I'm
No,
like,
no, we are. Don't worry.
yeah, it's just so wild because like no one can like interact at this stage. So, but yeah, look, I just wanted to tell that story because I think that's like I mentioned in the tweet that I put up the other day, like I've been very close to quitting because I have, and I'm so glad that I didn't because I knew that this is what I wanted to do, and yeah, I'm so glad that I just kind of fucking stayed in the game. So let's break it down a little bit. And Joshy, I wanna go to you first. So tell me about your situation right now. Tell me about kind of from February 2020, how it started going wrong, where you needed to, like, when you got whacked on the head. What kind of did you start to see was changing, and what did you realize the adjustments that had to be made, and kind of lead up to like where you are right now, and obviously kind of having to keep the radiology going. Yeah, let's talk about the last 12 months.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I just want to say as well, love that little spiel.
Thank you.
Because
Thank you.
it would definitely resonate with what I say. But yeah, so I think my biggest mistake last year was when COVID came. Yeah, I had that sort of that early Qantas loss, and I was just like, yeah, it just knocked my confidence to six, and I was like, fuck, I'm not doing the right thing. And then so I guess I was looking for what do I need to change? And obviously, it was still early days in COVID. Things, no one really knew what was happening, what was gonna go. But I was just too early in that trade, and we all know now that it went down to like $2. But I literally top ticked it basically. But end of the day, I guess which is it's when you look back, it's stupid, but at the time, and so many people will get this, like, when you're sitting there in front of the computer, everything's happening so quick. It is hard to sort of keep your focus. And what I did wrong was I was like, okay, this is a market I've never seen before. Like, I've never seen anything like this. So stupidly in hindsight, but what I did was I was like, I need to change the way I trade to make money. And it's a complete opposite. Like, yeah, I was early. I was in that sort of, little consolidation phase when things were like, oh, what's happening? People were like, shit, I'm going to buy the dip. People were like, nah, fuck this. Qantas is dead. And so, things were gyrating so much. It was super volatile, and I got shaken out, and as I said, top ticked it. But then my mistake was I was like, well, shit, I need to do something different. So I started trying all these, different things. But what would have been the best for me was just to trade how I usually trade, and I would have had some massive moves. But
Were you trying to be too smart?
Exactly, 100%. I was trying to be too smooth. My brain was, no sulci in the brain, just too smooth.
Yeah,
that's one
too
for the
smooth.
Medical people out there. They'll love that. But yeah, so I was like, shit, I need to do something different because the market's different to anything I've seen. But this is stuff that, and like you look at Nick, like back in the day, like when Nick was posting his stuff, during COVID, he was just killing it, and it was because this is what he's been waiting for. He's been waiting for this type of volatility. He keeps his risk tight. He smashes when it's on, and he just sees money and he takes the money. Where I was different, I was like, oh fuck, I've got to do something different. I've got to this thing's dropping. I've got to try and buy the dip now. Where it just wasn't a time to do that whatsoever.
Yeah.
Or I was like, I guess I was thinking, yeah, it's true. Like when the market was really crashing, because I thought I keep going back to this Qantas trade, but that's what really fucked me up. I was too early in that, or I just didn't give enough room. I just wasn't patient enough to let the panic really set in. But when the panic hit, things were just, like you go back and you look at the chart of the market, you look at the chart on most of the stocks, like they were just selling all day. There was just nothing behind them. But I was like, shit.
But you were too early, right? So you just had to wait for it to be more obvious.
Yeah, I did. But I think because I'd taken that loss, I thought I was wrong.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Yes. I was thinking, shit. I got the whole read wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's going to do the same thing again. It's going to drop, and I just didn't do well. I didn't. like I was in between a mix of like swing trading and intraday trading, and it didn't work out well for me.
Yep.
And when that really, if I just traded my normal intraday trading, that would have been like, that was the golden goose.
Yeah, you would have been fine.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of my biggest lessons, and I say this to like I've written it down so many times when I'm doing my reviews, over the especially my review from last year. That's my biggest lesson, was just like, this is the type of shit you wait for. It comes around every 10 years or 20 years, whatever.
Yeah.
But this is what you kind of, I guess, you're training yourself for this volatility where like there's the panic sets in, people are just selling at any price. You just have to get in there and just, let it go. And, you read the tape. Every time little bounce was getting sold off into straight away, and I'm like, oh no, maybe there's people there that want to buy it, and it's gonna rip up. I was just doing stupid shit like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's where things started to go wrong for me, and then.
So that's Feb last year, starts kind of taking a turn. You start second guessing yourself.
Yeah, I did.
And then does it all kind of like start to unravel over a certain period of time? Like, does that doubt kind of set in a bit further?
That's the thing. The doubt did. So I end up, I realized I couldn't, I was like, shit, I'm going to blow up if I don't sort this out. But I stemmed the bleeding, but I didn't really make a lot back because I was definitely second guessing myself.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff. So that's where where things were just like, I felt like I didn't know how to trade whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I still had a lot to learn, but at the same time, had I been doing what I'd been doing, end of the year before, I would have been fine. I would have been fine. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's just that small little thing that, that the doubts creep in when the market conditions are so right for you.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't taking these trades, and then I was like, no, it's too far. I'm going to start fading this stuff. And it was just, but I end up, I stemmed the bleeding, but I was my confidence.
Was it a bit too late?
Down.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
It was.
You'd burned through so much mental capital that it was like, I've stemmed the bleeding. Yeah, I've kind of like, I'm going sideways now instead of down, but like I've just expelled so much mental capital now. It was like kind of hard to pull yourself up every day.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing that probably compounded that was like, I saw the people that I sort of, in my, my year of trading, I guess, like as in, Erwan, Big Chow, all those guys, like they were, they were making good money, and I was just like, fuck, but I just wasn't confident enough to get that run on. So, you hit the nail on the head. I burnt my mental capital, and I just completely forgotten how to trade, and I just had to kind of like chill out when the market was kind of like doing the things that
you wanted it to do, but you were just
for.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So how did you, like, when did you make an adjustment? When did you decide, all right, I need to change something? Because at the moment it sounds like you're going towards a position where you're like, holy shit, like I might not be able to stay in this game much longer. Was that kind of a feeling that you had, or?
Yeah, 100%. So like that, and so what I did was I just sized down. I was like, I knew I was aware enough to know that I wasn't taking good trades, so I sized right down, and I just kind of like I guess I was just waiting till my confidence got back up, and it did, and it kind of like, so last year, if you look at my equity curve, it just was like, it was just a chop. It was up and down. I'd get my confidence back too much, then the market would just kind of like pull back and die off. So I felt like my timing was all off, but I guess, so the big adjustment, I got to the end of the year, and so end of last year, and COVID, I'd bung the missile up, so like I had to really think about what was coming up in the future.
Yeah.
I've got a kid coming now.
Yeah.
And the other thing that was also weighing my mind was, so with my radiography license, I have to do 450 hours every 3 years. To keep my license, and if you don't keep it, it's an arduous task to get it back. Like, you have to do exams, all this sort of stuff, and it's money, So I kind of got to probably November, December last year, and I was just like, I had a real big decision to make. I was like, and I had to ask myself the question. I was like, am I ready to give radiography up for good? And I had to weigh it all up. I was like, like, of course I wanted to. As you said before, like, trading is your way out of this, and I truly believe that as well for myself. I'm like, trading is my way into the future. It's a good life. It's what I'm going to have, but it's not given to you whatsoever. It might not take you, 2 or 3 years. It could take you 5, 10 even. And this is why I resonate with this.
Everyone's
topic.
journey is different as well. Like,
exactly, that's the thing.
As soon as you start looking to the side and seeing like how like XYZ is doing, as soon as you start looking to the side, that's the second that you fucking drop the ball. You got to focus on your journey.
100%. You need to stay in, like, Olympics metaphor. Stay in your lane. Don't worry about what everyone else is doing.
Yep.
Run your race, and don't tighten up. Let it come to you. So yeah, I got to that point. I just was like, I'm not ready to give radiography up. I've done 5 years of study for it. I've, so much in HEX. It's a good wage. It's not a trading wage, which it has a cap on it. But at the same time, I was like, Lisa's going to be off with the baby, and on maternity leave.
Yeah.
I had to be smart about it.
Yeah, it's nice to have it there. It's nice to kind of have it there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I was like, am I, if I don't do this 450 hours this year, then, that's it. I really couldn't see myself going back to it at all. And I was like, am I going to do labouring? Am I going to do Uber Eats? All this sort of shit. Like, it's not going to pay the wages. Like, labouring might, especially in Melbourne with the unions. But the thing is, I was like, I've done all this study for it. Like, it's a decent wage. So anyway, I got to December and I was like, I started looking for jobs. And I definitely still wanted to trade. Like, that was my thing. So I first started looking for part-time work.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting this gig where I'm a mobile radiographer. So I go around to the aged care facilities. So I have the X-ray machine in the back of the car.
Yeah.
Go around to 10, 15 places a day.
Yeah.
So they don't have to leave because a lot of them it's hard for them to get in and they have to get an ambulance just to transfer to a radiography clinic just to get an X-ray. So there's a massive market for it.
Yeah,
and it's good and it's rewarding. But so that's what I got that gig, and then I sort of said to him, look, this is what I do. I trade. That's what I want to do. But at the same time, like, I had to sort of be careful as well. Like, I wasn't interested in the job, which and the thing is, I am interested in security it gives. So. I said to him, look, I'd love to sort of start at 11 and work till like 6 and they were happy with that. They were super flexible. They were like, yeah, no stress as long as you can put the numbers in. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you were just up front and that they were happy to roll with it. So,
and it was a kiss on the dick really, because I was like,
and we all love that.
We love that, and I don't think a lot of to be fair, I don't think a lot of places, would, especially in radiography. Like, I've never seen someone work weird hours like that. So yeah, I've been super lucky with that.
Okay. So that was when was that? Maybe like beginning of this year.
Yeah, I started in December last year. Yeah.
Okay, so you've been maybe 6 or 7, 8 months with these guys doing the 11 start. So you trade the morning essentially at the moment for the last 7 months?
Yeah. So get up, and I try and, well, the prep is so important to me now, which it always is, but I guess more than ever, it's, it's super, super important. So I try and get there, sit on the desk by at least 8, sometimes, I stretch out to 8:30, but I need to put in a good prep. I need to because I have to be super selective now.
Yeah, you don't have time. You don't have time to mess around and get it wrong in the match or just after.
Yeah, exactly. Because once you have your first trade is a loss, knowing that I have to leave home. Yeah,
exactly.
At 11 o'clock. It messes with your mind.
Yeah. I get you. So yeah, okay. So you've been doing that for like 8 months now. So you get up, good prep, trade the open, and then go work your 7 hours at the radiography gig. How's your
How's my back? It's terrible.
Really? Battling?
Oh man, I'm like one of the patients I X-ray every day.
Yeah.
No.
just hobbling around. No, I'm
Look
just
like Mr. Burns.
beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. Well, how's the equity curve looking?
Equity curve has gotten better. So, like, I got out of drawdown from last year a couple months ago.
Yeah. Can I just ask you how? So, were you in drawdown the whole of last year?
Pretty much, yeah. I really
So
struggled.
from February, after that quant trade, you never really recovered?
No, I didn't. I really struggled. Like, I chipped away at it, but I couldn't get well out of it. And, it played on my mind for sure.
Man, well done for getting out of drawdown.
Yeah,
congratulations.
I never actually, I never realized how when you have a big draw, like it wasn't like financially destroying the drawdown, but at the same time, like it was just tough because
probably mentally destroying.
Yeah, it was mentally destroying,
and it's hard to
get out of it. It's hard to make such a good feeling,
and it's hard to make money when you're in that state of mind.
Exactly.
Yeah, if it's whacked your state of mental health or your mental capital to the point where now you're not taking advantage of the opportunity set, then it doesn't matter what the amount is. If it's leading to that kind of behavior, it's obvious. It's just going to lead to longer drawdown if you don't address it.
Yeah, exactly.
So you managed to address it by it was kind of fateful, I guess, in a way that you were forced to go do these 450 hours to keep your radiography gig going. It's actually coincided with you not putting as much pressure on your trading by having the income from the radiography gig that's taking pressure off your trading at the moment. Is that fair to assume?
It definitely is, yeah. For sure. Like there's in that little point there are days now where I can come and I'll do all my prep, and there are days where I can just be like, you know what, there's nothing that I want to trade.
Yeah.
I'm happy with that because I know I'm going to make money elsewhere today.
Yeah.
I don't have to try and force it, which would usually lead to a loss anyway.
That's I think one of the most beautiful parts about this whole conundrum, or whatever you want to call it, is that actually taking the pressure off your trading leads to you probably trading better, because now you know you're going to get paid that day, right? You're going to go to your job, you make your $300, whatever, rent's paid, food's paid. Now I don't have to take any trade. And once you don't have to take a trade, you're now looking for what's my best opportunity? And as soon as you start thinking like that, that's how we should be thinking all the time as traders. Obviously it's not as easy because, we take into account all these other things. We take into account how we're feeling that day, how we're feeling from the previous week, our expectations about what the market should be offering us, our expectation, coming in from last month. Let's just say I had a really good month last month. Now I'm thinking I'm a big dick player. I'm going to start making money all over the place, right? There's ego and expectation that come into it. But really, if we can strip it all back and get to the heart of this concept of being a good trader, is to take one good trade, and that means that we're just looking for the best opportunity.
Yeah, and I completely agree with that.
Yeah. All right.
And something I've learned, with this, as you just said there, and this is the thing, we don't think about this when, I guess the elite traders do, but, I know for sure that I didn't, where I was I made a $500 loss this day. Don't worry, I'll make it back next day. But the thing is, you're just starting from $500 down, and you wouldn't think, and now I'm earning money as well, right? I've kind of got that connection back to what money is worth.
Yeah.
So even if I have that $500 loss, it's not the end of the world. But at the same time, I'm just fuck, I'm going to work and I'm just literally scratching off what I lost today.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Beauty. All right. Well, I might jump over to Erwan here.
I'll give it to you. I'm taking up too much time.
Erwan, here's another hospital pass for you, brother.
Keep going.
Yeah. So I guess I wanted to talk to you about pretty similar thing, but you kind of tackled it from a different point of view, because I remember us talking, whatever it was, maybe 12 or 18 months ago, when you went away for that retreat.
Yes.
I think it's I personally think it's a super cool thing that you did, and one that has clearly paid dividends in being able to keep you in the game. And I want you to talk about, one, what led up to that moment, and then two, kind of what the motivation was and how you feel like it played a role in kind of keeping you in the game.
Yeah, of course, man. Look, yeah, I think just for some background, it probably a bit different to Josh's situation in the sense that I sort of came into this with one bullet, as I said. So I never really had the option of going back to recruitment or my previous life. It's not like you need qualifications to be a recruiter anyway. It's a sales job. But basically, I did hit that sort of low point in the sense that I was like, okay, right, like, is this for me kind of thing, right? I think everybody has. Maybe not.
Were you in drawdown at the point, or was it just like you were just scratching every day or something like that?
Yeah, it was a drawdown, but I mean, looking back, it was nothing. But I mean, back then, it was huge, right?
It was everything.
It was my first drawdown, and I started having all these ideas about quitting and so on. And I think everybody has. Every trader would go through that point. Maybe not Nick Fabrio. He's probably the only guy who hasn't had that thought before. But
fucking Fab.
But it crosses your mind. Of course, it does. So it was 2019. So it probably would have been 1 year into my trading when I had my first decent drawdown. And look, it wasn't much. I mean, I actually brought up my stats just before this conversation. Yeah. It was like $7,000, and then it just sort of snowballed into like 10,000 and 12,000 over the space of a week. Yeah. So look, it's not a huge amount, but back then
it's enough.
Oh yeah, of course it was. And because it was the first time, emotionally, you have no idea how to handle a drawdown. None, right? Yep. You're just like, I've worked so hard. I've been scalping for the last 6 months, like $700 every day, and then I give it all back in like a week, right? And it starts playing on you. It really does. It's really you against yourself. So what happened was that this started happening, and I think it was like a Wednesday or something, and I lost like $7,000 in 3 days. And then I was like, okay, on Friday, I was like, you know what? It's fine. Monday, I'll come back and I'll crush it. Monday, I lose another grand. And Tuesday, another grand. And it just starts, snowballing.
Yeah.
And by like Thursday, I'm a train wreck, right? Like emotionally, I am just distraught. I'm completely destroyed.
Yeah.
And it was actually my missus who was like, oh my God, you look like a ghost. Like, what the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And she was like, all right, we got to do something about this, because you're about to lose it. Like, I was just a grumpy dude just walking around the house, like all pissed off and shit. And so we actually packed our bags, chucked the dog in the back seat, and we drove 5 hours north to a place called Nirvana Retreat. It was it's like no phone.
Sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it was. It was in Barrington Tops National Park, and it was like no phone, nothing. And it basically, I mean, I'm not going to go into details because it's just basically a retreat with no connections. There's a farm there. You can pick your own eggs.
How many days?
3 nights, 4 days.
3 nights. Okay, cool.
It was really wholesome. I got to say that. But it's not so much about that, but it was more about the fact that it forced me to not be an idiot. And that was probably the biggest thing, because the more I stayed in front of my screens in that drawdown, the more I would have been a complete moron and tried to trade my way out of it and just gone like completely berserk, right? I mean, there's like a quote from a book called High Probability Trading by Marcel Link, and he says it really well. He's like, if you just don't trade, you're actually doing better than 80% of the market, like of traders, because 80% of traders lose, right? So if you just don't trade, you're doing better than the majority.
Right.
And I think that was a really big thing, because I could not trade. There was no internet.
Yeah.
There was no internet, and I had to be forced to just sit there and think about what I do. And sometimes when you just sit there and think about things, you can't start realizing you've been an idiot and so on. So that was probably one of the best things I ever learned about myself, in the sense that if I'm in drawdown, if I'm in the pits and I'm not doing well, just disconnect, just walk away and just take a break, whether it's for the day, whether it's for the week, whether it's for like an hour, it doesn't really matter. But just don't be there, because you're only going to be, self-destroying, your trading by doing so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's probably the closest I ever got to quitting. After 4 days coming back,
How good you feel?
Oh, look, completely refreshed, re-energized, and it what it does when you step away from the markets when you're not doing well is it actually just like sort of you regather your thoughts, right? Like you sort of realize, okay, why was I shorting the lows? Why was I trying to buy the highs? Like, why am I lifting offers 10% from VWAP? Like, it makes you realize these things when you're away from the screens, but when you're there in the midst of it, it's really hard to think logically.
Yeah, when you remove yourself, that's when you're able to get the context that you need.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, it's to disconnect to reconnect almost, right?
100%.
It's like you sin bin yourself, right? And like the guy sits on the side of the pitch and he's like, yeah, right, that was a bit sick.
Totally. But that is honestly the hard part, is doing that, like sin binning yourself, because no one's going to do it for you. There's no boss. There's no work schedule. You're not getting paid by that hour. You got to sin bin yourself. So figuring out how to do that and when to do that, like, I reckon that's the hardest shit. I was saying this to Fab the other day. Like, it kind of just like really, I mean, it not really clicked for me because obviously I'm not trading like it really clicked for me. But I was just thinking about the idea of trading versus not trading, like similar to what you said a second ago. Like, trading is not the hard part. Not trading is the hard part. Like, I think once you figure out, a few certain rules around, like, where to enter, where to exit kind of thing, and you kind of get an understanding of risk management, trading then becomes the easy part. What becomes the hard part then is when not to trade. And that is because, like, every single day we have so many opportunities put in front of us, right? We have X amount of stocks by X amount of volume, like units by X amount of entry price by X amount of exit price. Like, there's infinite opportunities on any given day, and we could take any single one of them. But it's the ones that you don't take that really make the difference in the long run. It's like, when they say, like, in rugby league, for example, defense wins premierships. I think it's the same thing. Not taking trades makes you a good trader.
Absolutely. I agree. But I think that all comes down to self-awareness, and which is probably something that you want to discuss later on. But I think you've got to know yourself, man. I mean, that's the one thing. And I think a lot of the times when you're down low and you're about to tap out and say, I'm out of this, I'm out of this game. Yourself. You start second-guessing yourself, right? But it's in those moments where you've got to sort of look internally and be like, okay, like, why did I decide to get into trading in the first place, right? Like, clearly, I love this job and I love this industry and I love what I do, right? And it's in those times when you have to think to yourself, okay, if this is my choice of life and this is my job and this is my career and this is my passion, then the only thing that stands between me and incredible success is time. That's it. It's
staying in the game, staying in the fucking game.
Absolutely. But it's really hard to see that when you're, 20 grand in the hole and you're not making any money and you go into fucking Aldi to buy your vegetables. You're like, God damn it, man. Like, But that's the thing. You've got to go back to the core belief in yourself and the reason why you're in trading in the first place.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you, Erwan. That's fantastic. All right, boys. I think we'll keep moving on here. So, look, the next point of conversation I had was, what is the importance of staying in the game? But I think you kind of touched on it there, Erwan. Like, if you're not in the game, you don't have the option or the ability for the wins, the lessons, all the little bits and pieces that you are subconsciously or intuitively picking up, right? You don't have the opportunity for them to actually catch up to you and equate to success. If you quit too early, it's like that. I'm sure everyone's seen, there's a meme of like a guy who's like digging a hole, and it's like, he digs down one level, and it's like 90% of people quit here, or like 60% of people quit here, and then he digs down like another level, and then it's like 70% of people quit here, digs down another level, and then anyway. Or maybe the other way around, 10% quit here, then it kind of increases as he gets further down. And then he gets within like one like kind of swing of the pick away from the gold or the diamonds or whatever it is. And then it says like, 1% of people quit here or something like that. So it's like, you're never going to get to that success moment, that finding the gold moment, that digging up the diamonds moment. Yes, that's the one. Thank you, Bryce. That's it. Like you're never going to get to that moment if you quit too early. So if anyone out there is experiencing that moment right now, like you feel like you're slogging your head up against a wall, you feel like nothing's working, you got low self-esteem, you got low confidence, whatever. If anyone feels like that, just know that you might be one swing of the fucking pick away from the success you've always dreamed about, right? Now, don't get that confused with disillusion and like feeling like you're entitled to success just because you've been in the game. Like that, they're different things. You're entitled to success if you work your fucking butt off and you get a little bit lucky along the way. Right? It's not about like just being around is going to lead to success. You need to do the work as well. But you're never going to have the like small lessons and the small, learnings and the small wins. They're never going to catch up to you if you fucking pull the pin. So yeah, I just answered that question.
No, I mean, I'd agree with you. And I think just going back to, what you need to do to stay in the game. And it sounds rough, but I think, at the beginning, I'm not sure, I guess everyone's situation is different. People have been in this for years. Others have been in for months. And like you have to make those sacrifices at certain points in your training career. Again, it depends on your situation. Obviously, like, you have to go back to work or whatever it is, but like just using me as an example, just so I can elongate my time during my learning curve. Yeah. Like I'm not ashamed to say this, but like I lived a really frugal life. I mean, like I joked about Aldi, but fuck, I actually did. Like it came down to that because every dollar that I saved on vegetables would be used to buy FMG. Like fucking long iron ore, man. Like and I had to do it. I really did. I remember buying like those like Aldi beers. Like those like fake pure blondes.
Yeah, like
what do they call like legally blonde?
$9 for a 6-pack or something.
Yeah, it's
they're
so
actually
good.
not too bad.
Great. I used to go there on Wednesdays hoping for some like cheap deals on like clothing. Yeah. But like, I mean, but I really did. But it was because I had this like ultimate goal.
The big picture in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had to do it. And it paid off. It really did. And I mean, it's horrible. I hated my life for 6 months, but it worked. So
just so you know, Erwan, I'm standing and applauding right now. I'm standing up. I just stood up out of my seat and I'm clapping. I'm clapping both of y'all. Yeah, that's perfect. All right. Well, okay. So let's talk about what do you think are some tools that both of you have applied? And probably Joshy, I'll come to you first. But what are some tools that you feel like you've lent on at a time where you felt like you're about to fucking pull the pin? What are some stuff that you've gone to, whether it's exercise, daily reviews, talking to other traders, watching Mike Bellafiore content, reading a certain book, meditating, fapping, whatever it is? What are the things that you've lent on when you felt like you're about to pull the pin? Talk to me.
Yeah. We always want to be better, don't you? So yeah, you do all that sort of stuff, like, you know, you read books, but I mean, sometimes that could just confuse you as well. But for me, I find I do my best stuff, whether it, like, even if I'm in a period where I'm not trading well, just completely just going back to like daily reviews, and like literally just proper dialing into your trades and like why it worked, why it didn't, you know. So you go back at the end of the day and you think, all right, why didn't this drop? And then, you know, you'll look at it and you're like, fuck, man, that shit had like an 8% short base. What was I thinking? Trying to, you know, like, you know, there's a lot of, if it's at that lows and it's got an 8% short base, it's probably not, it's not going to be the easiest drop, is it? Like, there's going to be people just covering into every level. It might grind down, but at the same time, so just little things like that, where you're doing your review every day, and you know you have to go on every trade as well. Like, you can't just sort of take your best trades. You got to take your worst ones as well. Really dial in. Why do you think? What can you point out as to why you think the stock the price acted like it did? And I'm still, you know, I'm not going to lie, I'm still in that point where I'm doing that every day, and I'm like, fuck, I should have realized, you know, I've written this down 3 months earlier, but it, you know, the thing is, I think, you know, the longer you do it, the more it finally sinks in. Like, it doesn't sink in for everyone straight away, and I'm one of those people. I have to, like, I need to just be beat over the head a million times, like, you know, this isn't working, or, you know, why? So the more I dial in and properly dial in, not just like, yeah, I made $500, awesome. Yeah, I lost $300. That's okay. I didn't lose as much as I won. You have to dial in, like, what do you think? Was it the opening print? Was it lifting? Things like that.
Yeah.
Really properly getting into the
Yep.
trade. So my biggest tool, would definitely be getting into your daily reviews. I'm all about that meditation and stuff as well. I'm not very good at it, but I think sometimes it is good when you're getting really wound up.
Just to take a breather.
You know, and I did, yeah, I did a lot of that when I was crook, you know, when I was going through all my chemo and shit. Like, it's a tough thing, you know, like, life isn't the same all of a sudden. It's just quick of the fingers, bang, all of a sudden, you know, you're basically getting poisoned every day for a reason, though. Like, you know, and I'll never, you know, I'm all for chemo, don't get me wrong. But, you know, that's what it is. It's basically poisoning your body, but it changes, you know, like, it's like, fuck, I don't feel good, and, you know, you feel down on yourself, all this sort of stuff. And I guess there is similarities to trading. Just like, you know, you have a few big days where you just think, what the fuck did I do wrong? And you get so down on yourself. And sometimes, you know, I know there's a lot of people on here who be like, fuck meditation, man, like, you're a fucking you're a bollock, you can fuck off.
Love meditation.
I think it's actually, yeah, I'm the same, man. Like, it does actually sort of, like, it grounds you a little bit. It makes you think clearly, and it's a good tool to have in your back pocket. Like, and there's so many apps. Like, I've got there's an app called Calm. That's what got me through chemo, all sort of stuff. Yeah. So, you know, I definitely utilize that. But, you know, when it comes to trading specific, my biggest tool definitely just
the reviews.
Going back to your daily reviews. Just don't let it, like, if you let it drop, that's when you start to, you know, you might think to yourself, oh, you know, whatever, I'm only losing 300 a day. I'm not having these big losers. But that adds up over a long time. And as I was saying, I kind of touched on earlier, like, your starting point when you finally, you know, when conditions come back and, like, you know, your setup start working, you're just starting so far behind.
Totally.
Yeah. So that's probably that's what I would say, the biggest tool. Yeah, just really dial into those reviews and think, why is it working? But you have to also be open to the fact that the market's so fluid. What's working now won't work next week.
Yep. Erwan?
You guys are such hippies with your meditation.
We're so out there. Woo!
I'm joking. I actually do believe in that too.
No, I literally, I sip ayahuasca literally an hour before the open, pretty much every day. So it gets me through.
Man. Really? Do you do, like, breathing exercises? Like, you actually, like, count and all that? Or?
No, I literally do the daily Calm. It's on the Calm app. They got a 10-minute morning thing.
Froth that.
Yeah, daily Calm is so good. And Tamara Levitt is the speaker, and her voice is just off the chain.
Yeah, I hear that. It's like, get you, doesn't it? It's just like, it's so calming.
So calming. And
Do you guys subscribe to Wim Hof or no?
I like Wim, but I don't do his stuff. I don't do his stuff.
Yeah. You don't do the one where you like choke yourself in a cold shower having a wag?
That's not the Wim Hof method. That's someone else.
Oh, that's Wim Hung. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. All right, Erwan.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Erwan.
Tools, right?
Yeah, Josh Evans.
Yeah, look, I think Josh covered a lot there, but look, for me, there's two facets to tools really. One is just continuous improvement in your trading. So that's more the technical stuff, right? So like making sure that you just clock up those good screen time hours. And I think I really emphasize the word good, because you can't just sit there just staring at the market for, 7-8 hours a day, whatever it is, 6 hours a day, and not do anything. I think it's really important that you actually maximize your time while you're in the front of the market. So like one of the tools in terms of just ensuring that you stay in the game is just to improve for every hour you spend dedicated to trading. Maximize the value of every hour that you spend, right? So
absorbing the tape.
Oh, absolutely. Absorbing the tape and all that, but just having a goal. Like it doesn't need to be a monetary thing. It doesn't have to be like, okay, I want to make $1,000 a day, because that's nothing. That's like a 100-meter runner saying, I want to finish the race. It's like, well, you're going to do it anyway. How are you going to do it? What are you going to do to actually go about doing that? So I think that's where the actual influential points that you can actually influence, I should say, comes into play. So, if you are in a drawdown and if you are really struggling, why are you struggling? Like, what are you doing wrong? Treat every session as being an information gathering session. Just going, right, okay, I'm not going to focus on just making $1,000 a day. My focus on just fixing something that I'm doing wrong. Like, obviously, I'm not seeing the market, right?
Yeah.
Am I taking the trades that I should be taking? Am I forcing the trades, or should I be letting the market tell me what to do instead? So that's what I mean by just good screen time. It's just focusing on that, during the market hours, but also post. The amount of hours you should be spending on reviewing, on just improving your game.
Yeah.
Think of it as a lab. It's you're grinding, you're in there, you're spending the hours, you're back testing moves and this and that. You've just got to do it. So I think a lot of the problem with drawdown and when you're out, and really tapping out is people freak out and they're like, I'm not making money. But that's when you should be flipping it around and being like, okay, I'm not making money. How do I make money? And then just looking at it from a complete different angle.
Yeah.
And is being like, right, okay, this is what I want to work on, all right? I'm trading too much. So today I'm going to focus on 5 good trades. Yeah. I'm going to focus on 3 good names only, and that's it. And, and at 4 p.m., you rate yourself on that. Being like, okay, did I stick to the plan? Did I focus on what was important?
That's a great point. I love that.
And that way you actually accumulate small wins. And from there, you dig yourself out really quickly.
I feel like too often because I make my I attach so much emotion to my trading. Like sometimes if I'm trading really poorly, I actually do the opposite. Rather than like spending more time reviewing and figuring out what I did wrong, actually because I take it like so personally at times, I don't do that altogether. And then what that does is it just compounds the fucking issue, because I don't learn from that day. I just go into the next day like
the old ostrich.
Yeah, exactly.
If I don't address it,
exactly.
Happen. I've been there, 100%.
And it's just like it's so counterintuitive, because like how am I gonna address the thing I did wrong today tomorrow if I don't address it? Like I'll just go into tomorrow and do the exact same thing. Yeah. So great point, EC. Love that.
No worries.
All right, boys, what do we think in terms of, right, so this is like one of my favorite things to say, right? When I talk to myself, when I talk to other people trying to stay in the game, I talk about the idea of letting letting your wins catch up to you, which I've mentioned a couple of times already. What are some of the things, like more specifically, what are some of the things that you need to just be in the game for long enough to have them catch up to you? So, as an example, learning how to, size up, get the right amount of size on, learning how to, read tape correctly, learning what stocks to be in, stock selection, learning kind of like defining where your edge is. Like they're all kind of things that I don't think you're going to figure out overnight. I think they're all things that you need to be in the game long enough to actually, have all those thoughts fully fleshed out and caught up to you. So, yeah, I'll probably start with Joshy first. Like, what do you think are some of those things that you've only really figured out after being in the game for long enough?
Yeah, one of the big things, like you've said, reading tape, and that's 100% one of the things. Like we all like to think that, yeah, we can read tape, but like if I look back to where I was a year ago, I had no idea, and compared to what I know now, and I'll probably say the same thing again in a year's time. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those things. The more time you spend at the screen, the more you like understand, and the market is so fluid as well. So like, you have to, I guess, probably you do start to understand what the tape's saying, but at the same time, like, it's putting. So you might see, let's say, for example, you might see like a really strong like bid tape, where it's just like, yeah, this is, this looks like a long, but it gets to the point where it gets to like, a point where sellers step in. And I think the biggest thing is like, when it comes to reading the tape, it's putting both sides together. So you get, you're like, yeah, there's buyers, sweet, I want to get long. But then all of a sudden the seller steps in, you're just like, oh, it's like, is this just like a pause, or is this an actual proper, like, where people are willing?
Yeah, you got to figure out if it's real or not.
Going to sell. Yeah, and there was one this morning, I can't remember what it was, but I was watching it, and I wasn't in, but I was watching
Vulcan?
it, and it looked like, no, it wasn't Vulcan. It was one of the, maybe it was yesterday, actually. Maybe it was at ARN. Oh. And I was watching it, and it looked like the buyers were stepping in. And then I was just about to hit it, and then all of a sudden, like, there was another big seller just stepped in, like, not like he stepped in. Like, there was a spread as well, and that's one of the things you figure out as well when there's a bit of a spread going on as well with reading tape. But this guy just stepped. There was a big seller step down right in the middle of the spread, and I was just like, whoa! I'm fucking glad I didn't get in there. And sure enough, it just sold off. It kept selling off, but. So you're definitely like reading the tape, but I mean, you can read the tape one way, but I guess what I'm trying to say is like reading both sides of the tape and trying to understand it. Like, and that's still a work in progress for me. Like, because I guess you get that bias as well. You're just like, oh yeah, there's a buy here, and it works with my thesis. This is good. But then all of a sudden a seller steps in, you're like, oh, is this is this just someone taking a bit of profit here, or and then you can't. I think the thing is, you get to the point where you're like, oh, and you start like, you start thinking to yourself, no, my bias is good, my thesis is good, hold on. But then you start ignoring the selling part because you've seen the buying part of the tape, and that there was buyers there for a second, but have they dropped off? Like, things like that.
So you would say, like, obviously picking up those little movements in the tape, that's one of the things that you feel like 12 months ago, 18 months ago, just like wouldn't have seen. So it's staying in the game long enough for you to see those little movements, different bits and pieces. At ARN, for an example, yesterday maybe would have taken 12 months ago.
Oh, 100%. I definitely would have taken like that little. It had someone step down and sold him, but a lot of bids backfilled straight away, and I was just like, yeah, the boys are here, the cavalry's here, and I was ready to get in, but then like within literally by the time it got me to sort of like I was just about to press a ticket, straight away a seller stepped up, and I probably would have back in the day would have been like, oh yeah, this is just someone taking profit, but I stood back and it held me, I didn't lose money on that trade. Another thing is like, and most of us here, we know Austin Mitchum, and we've already reported
Austin who?
stuff.
Oh, burn! The burn!
Obviously, he's turned you down for a trading spaces spot. But I think one of the, we've all read his reports, and when he says that see it moment, like I'm starting to like finally get that, like as much as I don't want to just take his words, but like there is that see it moment when you see something that happens, like it might lift an opening print on like huge volume and it just can't get below it. Things like that, something that I didn't have 12 months ago, where now I'm like, yeah, this is the trade's on. And I know there's a few guys that we all trade with and stuff, like who I've seen them starting to pick up, and they're really making good money on this sort of that see it moment. I think that's another big one that comes with time, because you might think you see it, but I think you finally now I'm starting to think like, yeah, that's the thing you're talking about. And then probably one other thing another thing that comes with time, and it's so relevant right now, it's understanding reports or catalysts and how they react. So like you might think, fuck yeah, it's a 10% beat. A year ago I would have been like, oh, fucking 10% beat, open and flat, is an easy 10%. Fucking boys load up. And it just doesn't work that way. Like there's a reason it's probably, opening where it is. And is the market position super long? Is it like is it expected? Is the result expected, or is like, or is it not expected? Is there a heap of shorts? All that sort of stuff. Like putting all this stuff together, it takes a lot of time to kind of like understand
put the puzzle together.
If that makes sense.
Put the puzzle together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Beauty. All right, Erwan, talk to me.
What was the question?
Letting your wins catch up to you. Like, talk to me. What do you think are a couple of things? So, some of the examples
like
are
the benefits. Yeah, like the benefits of staying in the game.
Exactly. Like, I think I would say, like, for me, I think it's like, sizing up and stock selection. Those are the kinds of things that you just don't know if you don't know, and you only know once you've been in the game for enough time to fucking see enough.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think Josh covered a lot there from a technical perspective. I think I'm gonna go. Give me another hospital pass every time. Yeah. What do I say? Yeah. No, but I think I'm probably going to go more on the intangible side of things. And I think over time, the more time you spend trading, the more your self-belief goes up. And I think that's a really big thing. And probably the one factor that's really hard to measure is how confident you get the more you are in the game and the more you actually improve. Right? I think I actually posted this on Twitter. It would have been a few months back. It was a quote from Mark Douglas, The Disciplined Trader. It's a great book. If anyone likes psychology stuff, please read it.
I'll read it after that comment.
Yeah, no, it's so good. I mean, like it's like 30 years ago he wrote it, but I mean, he's
good though. It's fucking great.
Yeah, it's great. But anyway, he said, basically, just to summarize, he said, after you've learned to trust yourself to act in the best of interests, then the rest is down to how much you believe you are worth.
Oh, that's big.
So basically, how much money you're going to make trading comes from how much self-belief you have, right?
Shit.
If you think you're shit, you're not going to make money. If you think that you're worth 50 grand a year, then you will trade like you will make 50 grand a year. But the more you actually believe in yourself and the more confidence you have in your trading, the more you're going to start putting on size, the more you're going to start lifting those offers, the more you're going to get really aggressive, because that's the only way that you will actually improve in trading. Now, I'm not saying I'm there yet. Like I'm nowhere near the size that I sort of envisioned myself doing, but just the fact that I've been in this game for 3.5 years, I'm there every day. I mean, I see these guys, like you mentioned, Nick, you said Bryce Edwards and so on. These fuckers are lifting offers. Like, I don't know, some dude. Apparently he appeared on Chat with Traders. Who knows who he is? But anyway, like you see these guys really pushing size, and I think that's where the self-belief comes in. It's the more time you spend trading, the more you chip away and you make, you start with 500 and you start with a grand a day. Then you start with a grand a trade, right? And then you start with $2,000 a trade. You're like, oh, fuck. And then you're like, well, maybe like, 5 or 10 grand a day is actually not that far away. And that self-belief can only come when you spend time in the game.
100%.
That's
100%.
it. 100%.
Well, if I had a mic, I'd drop it for you right now.
If I had
a microphone, I'd drop it for you right now.
Thanks, bro. Yeah.
Okay.
No, but I mean, it's true, and it comes with also, like, we talked about drawdowns, and Josh, you came out of a massive drawdown, and well done for that. Like, that is a huge, like, a confidence booster. Huge. Like, when you step out of a drawdown, no matter how long it is, it could be 3 months, 2 weeks, 6 months, 1 year, whatever it is. You're like, yeah, like, I beat you, market. Yeah, like, you lost, the thing. And I won.
Every time you kind of come out of one, your confidence just grows a little bit, right? Because you've proven to yourself, like, because once you go into your first one, you're like, all right, well, I don't know, can I even do this? Can I even get out of this? Da-da-da. Then you go into your second one, you're like, all right, well, I've been here before. Then you go into your third one, you're like, all right, well, this is run of the mill. I'll just double down on myself and my strategy, and I'll come good. But I think the further you go, the more you're McGregor.
Nice, McGregor. That's awesome.
That money walk, baby.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's beautiful. Well, guys, look, I think I think I was going to ask for kind of some of your final thoughts about. For anyone struggling or how to stay in the game kind of thing. But I think he's kind of said all of it just then. Like, I think, just the idea of, doing what you need to do, turning to tools that you find useful or you find, are able to kind of like, not distract you, but at least kind of like take some of the pressure off. I think finding ways to take the pressure off yourself is really important.
Probably one thing we haven't, sorry to cut you off there, Savilian. If probably one thing that I could add, which has definitely helped me, I did kind of touch on it earlier, but I think, as a final thought, it's when you're struggling, just size down. Like, you're gonna gain if you're reviewing your stuff. Even if you're losing, you're still gonna you deep dive into it. You'll still get some type of understanding as to why you're losing, but it might. Who cares if it's 1,000 shares, per like share trade? You're still going to get some understanding of what happened. Like, don't get to the point where you're just like, fuck, I need to be swinging, try and get out of this drawdown, like in a day or two. Like, you can literally just trade 1,000 shares. Yeah, you're not going to make money off it, of course. But at the same time,
it's about going back to basics.
Still gain.
It's about like.
Yeah, 100%. Go back to basics, and you're understanding why this happened, and you'll get a win. You might be like, "Fuck, that wasn't much." But at the same time, go back to review it, and why did you win? Like, why did you win off that? What was it? Was like, where buyers caught out with sellers underwater? No, it doesn't make sense. But you know what I mean? So I think that's the thing. Just size down, because end of the day, if you don't want to blow your trading account up, because for a lot of people, we've put aside some money to do this, and if you ruin it, that's it. It might take 2 or 3 years to get back to we have the ideal thing, like, yeah, whatever, I've blown up, but I'll get back to it. It could take 3 years, but if you keep it small while you're really struggling, then you're not going to blow that account up. You can still understand what you're doing wrong. And as you said before, it comes down to staying in the game long enough where you're understanding your losses, you're understanding your wins. Like, I think sometimes we get in that sort of that mindset where we get a win, we're just like, fuck yeah, boys, fucking who's shouting tonight? Milky Bars are on me. But we don't really go into the review, like, what did I do right? What made that trade work? So I think that's the thing. Even if it's a small win, it's still a win. Deep dive into it. So I think that's one of those things. Yeah, size down if you're struggling, and you will live to fight another day. You won't fall on your sword in one foul swoop.
Beautiful. I love it. Erwan,
that was
Erwan, have you got a final thought for us? before we dive into some
Look,
questions?
No, look, I think we've covered everything. As simple as the fact that we just don't give up. I mean, as long as you believe that this is for you, as long as you believe trading is really your life's calling, then there is absolutely no reason for you to just go back to throw in the towel. I mean, it's as simple as that.
Beautiful.
Really. Just remember why you're doing this in the first place.
All right. Well,
amen. Praise be to the
highest,
the Holy Lord and Savior, Bryce.
Our Lord and yeah. Lol. All right. Well, look, I'm just gonna probably finish with a quote which I read this morning, which I thought was pretty cool, and then we'll dive into some questions. So, boys, line up for your questions. Fabio, I'm sure you got something to ask, mate. Line up for your question now. Chriso, if you want to ask me how many beers I'm deep, feel free to line up for your question now.
Can I just say one thing as well, actually? Sorry, I just really want to say this. You said Chris. Chris is one of the best at sitting and watch, when nothing's happening.
Oh, he's a fucking Zen monk.
And I'm not blowing smoke up his ass. This is one thing we can all learn from. He posts his P&L every day. Some days he doesn't take a trade, and that's the thing where it's just like, as I've kind of mentioned before, you're starting from $500, $1,000 down the next day. If he doesn't see anything, he doesn't do it. You don't have to trade every day. He trades full time now.
100%.
Yeah.
I think one thing we'll have to figure out is we'll have to get Chris on again at some point, because let's just say the other day I think he posted no trade, $0 dollars, and just didn't trade the rest of the day. We'll have to get him back on to figure out or ask him how many times he faps between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. To kind of get through that. So we'll have to we need to know we need to know there's no way. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get him on again soon to figure that out. But look, I'll just end with this quote here, which I thought was pretty good, and then we'll get on with it. But it's money trade edge, better thinking, better trading. I don't know who runs the page. It's called Money Trade Edge. But basically, the quote this morning was the road to trading success is not linear. 3 good days, 1 bad day. 1 good day, 2 bad days. 4 good days, 1 bad day. Trading is a journey. Act accordingly. And I just kind of thought that would be that was kind of very much in line with what we're talking about today. Everyone has their own journey, and as long as you got that self-belief, you got that awareness, and you stay in the game, I think it's all going to be okay. Just don't put too much pressure on yourself. Don't beat yourself up, and hang in there. All right, we're going to open it up to questions now. Firstly, Joshy, Erwan, I want to say thank you. You guys have been hectic, but
thank you,
we'll jump into a few questions now, and we'll start with Santo.
Leona?
Nah, Leona. No questions for Leona today.
Surely. Come on, man.
I reckon we've got a chance, but we'll see how we go. All right, so we've got Santo. Santo, how we doing, brother? Santo.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, G. We got you.
Here we go. Thanks, guys, for putting this together as well. Appreciate it. Yeah, look, meditating works. The last time I meditated was 5 minutes before the match, and I fell asleep.
Oh, man.
And then I woke up at 10:30. I missed all my trades. I saved some money, so it works. So I like meditating.
What a legend!
Oh, the old Sarat. I love him.
And that's how you beat. That's how you beat 80% of traders, right?
That's it. I've worked it out. I just sleep every 10 a.m. It works, fellas. Just try it out. Really good topic. And look, based on that quote as well, so look, you have the 1 good day, 2 bad days, 3 good days, and all that. But the question I got is, a lot of beginning traders, and I've experienced this as well. You have that 1 day that literally blows up your month, or blows up a few months. So there's that one trade, and we see it along Twitter, where it just destroys what you've done. And I just wanted to know if you guys have eliminated that. And I mean, I wish I could ask Chris or Fab last week. I had the boys on my lap, so it was a bit hectic. But or Grantos as well. But that 1 day where it blows up, have you been able to eliminate that trade? And what was the turning point, or what was, I guess, when was the last time it happened for each of you? If you successfully eliminated that challenge, what was the key turning point? And the obvious thing is, just cut your loss. But when you're in the trade, that's hindsight. Yeah. What was the statistical or emotional realization that switched a light bulb that completely eliminated that day from your playbook? And you can say that you can walk away, isolate yourself from the market, come back, or do all these things, size down, but then you size back up, and then it can still happen. So was it one key moment?
Can I respond to this one? Because I was talking to Fabio about this yesterday, so I think I'm probably pretty well placed to answer this one, because I actually had that day on Monday. I fucking blew myself up massively, undone like weeks of good work. Put a lot of pressure on my month, and I was talking to him about it, and I don't think the idea is to stop that blow up day, because I don't think that blow up day stops. And Josh and Erwan might be able to talk to this after me, but I don't think that blow up day disappears. I think what changes is, obviously you've got to stop the frequency of it. So, we were talking about the idea of maybe having one of those a quarter, maybe two. But you would ideally like to keep it to one a quarter. Sometimes like shit just doesn't go your way, right? Sometimes it just doesn't work out. Sometimes you're on the wrong side of the ledger. You might be caught in a hole. You might have misread something. Whatever. Sometimes it just happens, right? You're gonna have them from time to time. Step one, decrease the frequency of them. So try to keep it to one a quarter. And I think this step two for me is have outsized wins, because I don't think you can stop outsized losses. But what you can do is increase your outsized wins. And the way to do that is by, one, improving your tape reading ability, and two, being in the stocks in play more frequently. Because if you're in the stocks in play more frequently, if you have better tape reading skills, you're going to have outsized wins more frequently. And if you have outsized wins, then all of a sudden outsized losses aren't as important, or they're not as detrimental to your equity curve, or your overall P&L. So I would say don't focus on like erasing them or eliminating them. You can limit the frequency of them for sure, but you can also make them not as important to your overall P&L by having outsized wins more frequently. So there's a couple of things that I would probably touch on. Josh, Erwan, I don't know if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, I think.
You go, Erwan. I'll let you throw me a hospital pass, mate.
Oh, thanks, bro. Cheers. I was just going to say, I'd probably start off by saying thanks for making Josh and I feel like plebs by saying that you'd rather ask that question to Nick, Fabio, and Grant. But I mean,
they're the big dogs.
No. Yeah, I know. Clearly, we're second-class citizens here. But no, I was just going to say, I think a lot of it comes down to you knowing what works for you. I mean, it sounds very, very broad, but using an example that I've gone through recently is that I used to get really, really pissed off for losing, especially big in spec stocks. So like anything below like 20 cents. And everyone trades them, right? Because I mean, it's cheap brokerage and then you can make a lot of money really quickly. And so I joined the party, but I would take these outsized losses every single time. And because I just didn't know how to manage risk. Like for me, I want to see, let's say I'm going long, I want to see bids to lean on. I want to see lots of liquidity. I want to be able to get out, within 0.5% risk, basically, right? And unfortunately, I couldn't do that in specs. And there's a mate of mine who trades a lot of specs, and I was influenced a lot by his calls. And I'll jump in, and 5 ticks later, I'm like down X amount, and it drove me insane. And I think that was my turning point, was that, all right, I'm done. Like, I'm done with specs. There's nothing good coming out of it. Like, obviously, once in a while, I hit a home run and the thing runs, but it's not for me. And I think that's probably where my turning point came, was that I realized who I am as a trader, what works for me, what makes me tick, and cutting out the shits, basically.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, cheers, Erwan. I don't know why you couldn't say my name when you talk about your mate who trades specs. But Anyway, old G.
Just keeping it professional, mate.
I made it.
I do agree with what I agree with both what Sash and Erwan just said there. Like, definitely reduce the frequency. I definitely can't say that I've stopped having those outside losses every now and then, but I have reduced the frequency. And with Erwan, what he just said, like, when was it? Was it back in like Feb, March? I don't know, when the spec market was just going off. And if you weren't in it, which I wasn't really killing it, I was in it, but not like as good as I should have been. It was simply because I would keep risk too tight. So I would get in these trades and it would pull back 4 ticks, which was literally, it was nothing in like, but 4 ticks usually in a spec is just like, you know, that's game over for you. So, but when these things are running, you have to sort of give them that little bit of, I guess, that bit of room. But at the same time, I guess that's the balance, trying to find where you keep the risk and where you let the thing run, because you know those things were going parabolic for you know, there was a good 2-3 week period where whatever it was, any mining stock that had good results was just going bunter. And but yeah, if you just did your normal, you know, trying to keep those outside losses off, I guess the thing is, like, that was still a work in progress, and I didn't nail it at the time. But you go back and you look at it, you're just like, fuck, I literally pretty much bottom tick covered that. You have to give those things when the market is working for you, like when the spec market was working, give it that little bit of room. That doesn't mean hold it for 20 ticks going against you. That's like, you know, if you're when I say, yeah, it's like if your usual risk is 4 or 5 ticks, then, you know, maybe give it that tiny bit extra. And if it's instantly supported, hold on. But if it's not, if it's just dribble cock, let it go. But at the same time, when the market was working, and that was the thing, I was being way too tight on them. Then I watch it run, and I'd be too scared to get back in.
Well, I think like one thing that someone just mentioned to me, the ratio, like making sure that
who mentioned that?
You don't know him. But yeah, it's no, but just the ratio of your blow ups versus your outsized wins, right? You can't kind of be having a blow up that's 5K and your outsized win be 5K. If you're gonna have a blow up, if you're gonna have a blow up that's 5K, you've got to have an outsized win that's at least like 10 or 15. Like, there's no point absolutely torching yourself and having a 5K loss if you're only gonna if your equally big win is only going to be 5K, because it's going to take you you're not going to have your outsized win the very next day. It might not be for 3 weeks, so it's going to take maybe a week or two to get that back. So you just got to make sure that, like, probably going back to what I said, getting back in the stocks that are in play, making sure you're really tuning in your tape reading and having those outsized wins as or more frequently. Yeah, I hope does that add a little shine, Santo?
Yeah, it's good. The spec. So, and Erwan, I didn't want to put the other guys on a pedestal, mate. We're all humans here, so and I know we're all doing the hardest we can. So, sorry, buddy.
Man, I was joking. Don't worry.
Yeah, I've just blown my account today, so I'm I'm joking. Yeah, look, it's spot on. So, but
got to meditate, mate. Got to meditate.
Yeah, just keep sleeping. I think Erwan's knocked it on the head. So for him, it was you've removed that spec end, and that spec end was what was resulting in those outsized losses. So for Josh and Sab, like, what that's a metric that he can use now, like removing the spec end. Yeah. So what was the actual metric for you guys? Like, you got that quant trade. Was that Josh or Erwan?
Josh.
That Josh. Okay, that quant trade that hurt you. What was the metric you found with that said, okay, for now on, I've got to stay out of when this happens? And were you successfully able, because you said your equity curve's back to where it needs to be?
It'd probably be risk management and trying to be too big brain, right?
Well, it was, and that was the thing. Like, if you actually, like, if you were doing a proper sort of swing trade, like where if you go back to where the gap down was, like, I can't remember the exact metric, but if you go and have a look at the chart, there was a gap down, and then it actually never got above the price where it gapped down from. But I was just way too big too soon. Like, I had a sweller. If I had a box in, like cricket box, I would have cracked it. I thought I was riding this thing all the way down to zero. Not zero, but I thought I was on, and I just got way too big too quick. And that's the thing. The metric was, for me, I didn't size well enough to the point where that initial proper panic move, I couldn't cop the loss back up to where it first gapped down from. And that was probably that. I guess that's the thing from, you have to always, no matter how volatile it is, I guess you just have to sort of understand, especially because I was swinging, I wasn't doing an intraday trade, which I'm not that good at in any case. I have to understand where it can go back to and where it's probably going to get sold into again if it goes back to that level. And as soon as it got back there, I was cutting out in the match. I was just like, nah, I'm licking my wounds.
But just to kind of give 2 points, I'd say, Santo, the risk, like identifying better risk management and identifying probably less big brain were two things I would say that helped, like that Josh had to take out of that, right?
Yeah,
because
love it. Thank you.
I was thinking way too far ahead, and it ended up working in the end. But that's the thing. I never took a trade short Qantas all the way down to $2 because I was
right. Yeah. Beautiful.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks,
Thank you.
Have a good weekend. See you, boys.
Cheers, brother. Let's let me do this. Remove Santo from speaker, and then next up is the Libster at a speaker.
Oh,
the Libster.
Here we go.
Hello, the Libster.
Konnichiwa, bitches.
Welcome.
Here she is, all the way from Tokyo, Japan.
Hell yeah.
What's happening?
Not much. Great chat, boys. Loved it. Erwan, I just have to give you an apology. My question is for JE, actually. Okay, so, Josh, I'd just like to know, what is your preferred colour and length of rice green?
Excuse me, I completely missed the question. I was sucking on my vape. Can you please repeat the question?
What is your preferred colour and length of rice green?
Of rice grain?
Yeah.
Well, this is clearly a culinary question.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to do with trading, but anyhow, I still will answer it. I don't mind. I think, okay, just for some context here, I think Libby knows that I do like to cook. Probably a better cook than I am a trader. But I think my preferred grain would be probably the risotto grain. It's white, but it's short, but it definitely packs a punch.
Very nice.
Are you happy with that answer?
I am very happy with it. I don't like rice, sorry, but thanks for that. So.
Well, I think you should open your horizons and potentially explore the arborio grain.
Okay, I will. I'll take that on board.
Did everyone take note of that?
Well, I hope so. This is the thing. You can't hear everyone's response.
I know it's tough.
Isn't it?
I want everyone to back me up there.
You think you've given a great answer, and it's just silence. It's just like,
crickets,
oh.
Yeah. You just got to back. You got to back yourself.
It feels like me trading now. Anyway,
Libster, are you satisfied with his answer?
I am. Thanks very much. Great to hear from everyone.
Well, can I actually can I follow my answer with a question? What is your preferred colour and grain of rice?
I don't like rice. I'm off it. I'm off the rice. So
yeah. is that correct?
Yeah.
All right, beauty.
All right. Thanks, boys.
Thanks, Libster.
Enjoy Japan.
Bye.
See ya. All right, who we got? We got Alpha Zero Capital. Invite as speaker. Here we go. Alpha Zero, talk to us. Alpha Zero.
Hey, great set, guys.
Oh, there we go.
Geez, how's a deep voice?
That's a late night radio voice. Let's go. Talk to me. Talk to me, Alpha Zero.
Yeah, Erwan, you mentioned something really good in terms of avoiding spec stocks. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on, what your key or top rules are.
Okay.
Wait, sorry, Alpha's.
Yeah,
Alpha,
yeah.
Sorry, just to be a bit more specific. Top rules are for what? Taking a trade, exiting a trade. Like what denomination?
Let's just say top 3 rules that you absolutely have to follow.
Okay. All right, Erwan, take it away.
Okay. Yeah, right. Okay, that's you're giving it straight. Rules. I think selection is probably where you should really be the most tight, or I guess most rigid with your rules. I mean, it's about what works for you, right? So that's probably number one. I mean, there's so many stocks out there you can trade. You want to make sure that you're trading the ones that are going to be suited to your style. So, example for me is anything between sort of $2 to $10. I want to see a lot of liquidity on the book, a lot. And I want to make sure that they actually have some sort of catalyst behind it. So that's probably the 3 sort of rules that I really want in terms of my selection. I get really frustrated with myself if I'm just taking a trade where there's nothing behind it. There's just no reason why I should be in it in the first place, just because maybe someone called it out. Maybe it's popped up on one of my scanners. So I really want to make sure that there's multiple variables that make a stock in play for me to be investing time and capital in it. So I want to see news. I want to see the sector. I want to see, second day play. I want to see a lot of stale offers on the book. I want to see a technical breakout on the daily. Like if all 4 of those are present, then I'm all over it like the plague. But so that's probably my rule when it comes to trading. Someone's laughing. I don't know who it is, but yeah.
Not me.
Okay. Yeah, that's.
It wasn't me, mate. It wasn't me. Serious. I'm laughing at you, mate. I'm laughing at you.
Okay. All right. Well, those are my rules. I think as long as I'm in the right name, the right stocks, as long as they're in play, so as long as my rules are being followed in terms of selection, then I know I can make money. It's really that simple, because I'm putting myself in an arena where I know I can win. It's basically like it's like the probability is in my favor. Put it that way.
Great.
Joshy, talk. What about you, mate? 3 rules,
mate. 3 rules for me. Can you just repeat the question? I had to actually top up my wine.
What are the rules that make you a good trader?
Oh, okay, yeah. I think 100%. Sorry, I'm still laughing at the old rice grain question. Anyway, I think definitely being disciplined. To be fair, I actually didn't listen to anything Erwan just said there. So
no one ever does.
No. I'm being honest here. This is literally off the bat. No Erwan involved. I think being disciplined, 100%. And you have to sort of. You can't let yourself. Okay. 2 rules actually: disciplined, but also you can't let PA go. Like PA is king. Price action. Like no matter how good you think your thesis is, the market might not agree with you for some reason or another. As I said, I've got no sulk eye in my brain. I'm very smooth. I think I'm the best. And when it comes to that, I always get cucked. So I think the thing is, PA is king. Discipline. If you have that thesis, these 2 go hand in hand. If you have that thesis that you're going long and PA is going short, you have to cut it. You can't just keep holding on. Like I'm not a mean reversion trader, so there's nothing in that for me. I'm like paper hands. I cannot hold. when it goes against me. And third, that's a good question. Fuck, it's really showing me up as a trader here, isn't it? I haven't got a third
throw
rule.
one in there? I would say that depending on your time frame, the market is never wrong. That's what I would say. Like that's one. Like I don't know. I'm not going to say like three things because I mean I don't listen to my rules anyway. But I would say one thing. This is what I would say. This is probably a really important one. Depending on your time frame, the market is never wrong. If you're a scalper, you take that scalp, right? And if you got, let's just say you got a 90-second time frame or a 5-minute time frame, if the price action is going with you in that time frame, go with it. Don't think against it. Don't try and find a reason to short something that's strong. Don't try to find a reason to buy something that's weak. Whatever your time frame is, if you've got a 6-month time frame, 12-month time frame, you're a swing trader, always go with the market. Don't try to second guess it. Don't try to come up with your own thesis. Don't try to fucking outsmart the price action. Just go with the flow, depending on your time frame, obviously.
Yeah, I actually agree with that 100%. Especially like a lot of us here. I think well, not all of us, but like there's a lot of people here I can see listening. I know are intraday traders. If you're wrong intraday, you're wrong quickly, and if you try and hold on, you're just holding on to something that's going to take your focus for the rest of the day. If you're trying to get it to revert back to VWAP, and you're so far underwater, and VWAP is literally your break even, it's literally there's no reason to be trying to hold that, because when you think about it, if you're trying to get back to break even and it's going to take all day, which it may get to, but all day, that's your focus is lost from other opportunities.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Totally good.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. I think just to reflect on that, basically every really good intraday trader I know has the tightest risk I've ever seen. Like we're talking, less than 0.5% risk at any one time. It's basically scratch or 0.5% loss.
Yep.
So,
but the reason I mentioned the time frame is because if you're someone who likes to hold stuff overnight or for a couple of days, like the same trade that I would cut instantly, someone else might want to hold through that fucking, through that pullback to kind of like, cut it a couple of days later. So obviously, the market is never wrong. Go with the price action, go with the flow, but obviously take your time frame into account. How's that, Alpha Zero?
Agree.
We good?
Love it. Thanks, guys.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yes. Say something else. Say so.
Mate, did anyone ever watch? What's it called? X Factor? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
No. What's that? What's that new one? It switched to Channel 7. The Voice. There was this guy from Melbourne, and I reckon it was Alpha Zero. He had the deepest voice, and geez, he should have won. That's
Alpha. You can come back and say anything whenever you want, mate.
Thank you. I am from Melbourne, so
beauty.
Oh, it is you. His name was Wolf. I remember it was Wolf. Is that you,
no,
Wolf?
Never went on The Voice.
Shame.
Cheers, guys.
All right.
Thanks, Alpha Zero. Appreciate it, mate.
I like that.
That was great. All right, so we got Green Art. Green Art is we're going to bring him in to speak here. Boys, can I just say, before Green Art speaks, we've been going for 2 hours. Like, how fucking do we have literally? And a lot of you guys have been listening for 2 hours. Like, I
feel like it's because of lockdown. Everyone's got nothing.
Nah, but surely
you've
got like a misso or some hobbies. Do any of you fuckers have hobbies? Like, go do something. Like, surely you're not listening for 2 hours straight.
Hobbies are drinking and trading, so this is probably the best thing that could happen.
Yeah, beautiful. There you go. All right, green. All right, Green Art, talk to me.
Gents, thank you so much for the talk. I really appreciate it. And,
anytime.
For this opportunity. My question is for all of you.
Yeah.
Like from an intraday perspective, suppose that you were up for the day and then you gave it back or you gave it back and some more. Like, what is your process or what's your psychology at that moment, do you take the L for the day, or do you bring out like the golden shovel and try to like shovel your way out of it? Like, what is your thought process around that? I'd really appreciate some perspective.
Yeah.
So I'm going to quote Mike Bellafiore here. So I don't know if you've ever actually read his book. So the playbook, obviously, in One Good Trade. I mean, they're like the Bibles of intraday trading. But there's actually a chapter in there where he talks about the give back rule. Mm-hmm. So that's probably something that I've genuinely embedded into my trading, which is you have to make sure that you do not give back 30% of your profits for the day. Now that profit is dependent on it's tailored to everyone, right? Like some people trade a lot in the morning. As long as you don't give back 30% of your morning profits, it depends on what kind of trader you are. But I think that's a really important rule, and that saved my ass
What'd you say? Did you say 30%, Erwan?
30%, yeah. So a third of your trading profits must not be given. Once you've hit 30% of giving back your profits from the morning or however trader you are, you stop. You stop straight away, because unfortunately we're all humans, and you get emotional and you get upset and you start tilting, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
exactly right.
That's the name of the game. Yeah. So, but I mean, in terms of going past that and you start going deep into the red, look, I think, I don't know the stats specifically, but I'm pretty sure they're not good in terms of if you're in the red and you keep trying to dig yourself out, you're probably going to keep going into the red.
Well,
it depends on who.
Can I throw this up? I was trying to, like, I think that's the thing that actually started this whole trading spaces idea is when Chris ran some stats of mine and just kind of detailed with one, like if I did one extra trade, how bigger my loss would get. So, like after, like, say, in the last three or 4 months, for example, after 3 losing trades, I'm down maybe, I think, 19K in the last like 3 or 4 months. But if I stretch it out to take 1 or 2 more trades, my loss blows out like substantially. So it goes from like 19 to like 53K. So it's like if I take 1 more trade after the first 3 trades, if I take 1 more trade, it like almost 2.5x's my losses in the last 4 months. So, look, I mean, that doesn't really speak to kind of being up and giving back. I feel like I'm probably a lot better there. But if I'm starting as a loser, it doesn't do me any good at all to keep trading, because I generally push in the wrong places. So yeah, I don't know if that kind of shines any light on your thought. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Definitely shines a lot of.
I guess the point is, if you're down, like step, as Erwan said, step the fuck away. But if you're up, try your best not to give back. If you get to that 30% mark and you're feeling that tilt coming on, step the fuck away. There's no point pushing the envelope, especially after kind of like 10:30, because it's just not going to be there. Like a lot of the stuff, a lot of the price discoveries happen. The best opportunities are well gone. Live to fight another day. Just come back the next day and fucking start again.
Great. Josh, any perspective, or is Josh sipping on his wine?
He's sipping on the wine, and probably he's probably
I'm still here. I'm still here.
Vape as well.
Nah, you know what? I'm actually, if I'm being 100% honest, I was actually relieving the draining the main vein.
Come
anyway,
on, Josh.
I'm back.
We didn't need to know that, Josh.
No. Anyway, I'm back. So, look, I'm going to say this. I 100% agree with what the boys have just said there, but I used to have this uncanny ability of clawing my way back out of a big loss early, but I wouldn't recommend it to anybody, because like I could never make money when I wanted to do it. No, exactly. And I think, you know what I used to do? Like I used to just like scalp so hard during the rest of the day. This is when I was full time, and I'd kind of get back to either scratch or close. I'd get a fair bit out of it, but like as the boy said, the majority of the big sort of safer moves definitely happen in that first. Like for me, it's like that 40 minutes, especially now with me going to work at 11. Like if I haven't got a trade on at 10:40, I'll just go to work. But if I've got a trade on, I'll let it run till sort of 11. But I don't look at really getting into a trade after 10:40. So yeah, I think it all depends where your edge is. If you're like, if you can sort of figure out the mid session, then you'll make money for the rest of your day. And I had, as I said, I had an ability to sort of get back when I had a loss, but when I was up, I would always lose money. So it doesn't make sense to me. So I definitely didn't have an edge. But I think what the boys have said is right. Like, you know, you take the loss, and I've touched on it so many times today. Like, you have to remember, the more you lose, the further you are behind when you start the next day.
Yeah, that's a big one.
So, yeah.
Greener, how'd that go?
That answers my question. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it a lot. And everyone out there, stay safe. And appreciate it. Thank you.
You too, brother.
Appreciate it. Thank you, mate. Have a good weekend. All right. So, look, I think I'm just wondering, Bobo, do you want to ask a question about the algos there, mate? Or are we going to pick it back up next week? Yeah. Bobo, how are you, mate?
Yeah, what's going on, fellas? How are you?
Good, mate.
Here he is.
You know what? I think I'll leave it this week. I think you guys have done a good job.
Cheers, G. Are you sure? Last chance.
Yeah, all right.
Actually, while we're here, wait, guys, what's the difference between real selling and
algorithmic trading? And is there a genuine buyer or seller?
Erwan, you can take this one, buddy.
Hospital pass.
Oh man.
No.
Am I supposed to answer that? Seriously?
I just me and Bo go way back. We're just having a chuckle. Bo, I'll answer you in the DMs, G.
Oh, thanks, brother.
Have a good weekend, mate.
Where's Leona?
See you, mate. All right, guys. I think we might wrap it up there because I got things to do.
What about Leona? Surely we've been waiting all week.
Leona's well and truly. Oh, here we go. Leona's got something to say. Come on, Leona.
Good. We had to have
Leona,
something.
step up. What do you got to say? Go for it. How are ya?
Mate, been waiting all week for this.
It's not your wife or your missus? Come on. What is this?
Working at the moment in the other room. But
Gutted.
look, everyone just had way better questions than me. I just didn't feel like I deserved to get on, to be honest.
Do you know what?
I just want, even if you have a cameo, I'm happy with it.
Yeah, you've said hello.
Yeah. Savvy's like, you said hello. Time to go, mate. I've got things to do.
I'm just ushering you out the door.
Yeah, mate.
This
As
way,
you
mate.
go,
This way.
out the door. Yeah. Look, I got one real quick question. Just like, once I go full time trading, like how many weeks, or not me, but like, it's, once you go full time, how many weeks do you reckon it'd take before you sort of, might be able to afford that Lambo? I'm asking for a friend, but like, afford that Lambo.
I don't know, Fabo, how long did it take to get the Lambo? Look, honestly, I would say that like from me just making ends meet to actually being able to sustain myself probably took about 2 years.
Yeah.
And like, some people it might be shorter, but that was kind of my learning curve. From me just getting by and just making enough to kind of like, pay rent or whatever, to me actually kind of like starting to excel probably took 2 years.
Yeah. Like that sort of leads into my other question was like, I work full time and trading part time still at the moment, and which is just really frustrating. I almost get excited with lockdowns. I know that's probably offensive to some people, but it gives me a chance to trade every day.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And so it's kind of like I get really consistent and I'm doing really well, and then back to work, and then I got to find that consistency again after, it takes another week or so to just sort of get back into it. Don't know if you have any tips for that kind of situation. Like, I don't know if Josh, you've been in that situation a fair bit or not.
Yeah, I think, look, I hate to use an Olympic metaphor, but I have been watching a lot.
Go for it.
You know when you're watching the sprinters, and Tamsin Manu now, she's always saying they're tightening up. Like, I feel the same. Like, I feel sometimes when the pressure's on, like when, it's getting close to, when I'm like, fuck, I should be making money now. You don't trade properly.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty blanket statement, but at the same time, I think you have to give yourself, like, as I was lucky that I had that, like, I got real baggy in AVZ, so I was lucky with that. So I had a fair bit of time, but it still hasn't worked out like I thought it would. Like, end of the day, I thought, I've given myself 2.5 years. I'm going to fuck it, I'll have it sorted. And I didn't. I had a shit year last year.
Yeah.
So you've got to have, I guess, enough capital put aside that you can live off. For definitely, look, as you said, everyone's race is different, but I think at least a year, just because you don't know what year you're getting into. Like last year, if you did not what I did, if you traded properly when COVID was on, you would have
accelerate your learning.
Made a lot of money.
If you come into it in a year like that, you accelerate your learning. You should be able to.
Yeah, and I think that you have to sort of give yourself, like, if you earn $100,000 a year and that's what you live off. Like, I had I was single when I was first doing this sort of stuff. So I lived in a 3-bedroom house in Melbourne, and so I was paying rent for all that sort of stuff. So I had to have, like, I was and being like the mad cunt I am, I was going out all the time. So you have to have that money put aside to be able to pay rent, pay your bills, pay off your dog bills, vet bills, all that sort of shit. I've got 2 dogs, no stress. But and then, but also, like, literally just, you have to still enjoy yourself. You have to be able to unwind. So you think about it, like give it a good thought. Like, I guess I didn't really have to think about it too much because I was lucky with what I made from being a baggie, but it doesn't happen to everyone. Like, being a baggie is no good. Like, I could not do that anymore. Like, that actually is so much more stressful to me than intraday trading. But so I think, like, you have to have enough put aside for at least a year. Give yourself a crack, and if it's not working, potentially go back to work like I've had to do now. But yeah,
again, Leona, though, like this is the, like, you actually, your situation, I'm assuming by the sounds of it, I mean, similar to like Josh and me having to go back to work, in 2019, it's actually a blessing in disguise, because what it does is it prolongs your ability to stay in the game. Like, and that's really where you got to focus your attention on that part of it, not the part of it where you're like, I don't get to trade. I don't get to. No, it's the opposite. It's no, I get to stay in the game longer because of the sacrifice that I'm making right now. I actually get to stay. I get to give myself a better chance of succeeding in the long run, because that's how you got to look at it.
Yeah,
you got to look at it as like, minimum 12, anywhere up to like maybe 18, 24 months. You really got to give, not 18, 24, 36 months. You got to give yourself all of that time. And, by working and having that money put aside, you're going to give yourself that bigger runway.
Yeah. And if you do go full time, don't take it for granted. Don't think, oh, fuck yeah, I've made it. Like, I'm gonna make it in this first year. You have to, like, review every day. You have
the grind never stops.
Really get. It doesn't. It actually doesn't. That's the thing. Like, we've all, like, myself, Sav, Erwan, everyone says it. Like, Nick, Chris, Grant, everyone says, like, you learn so much more every day. Like, there'll be a trade that you learn from, and it keeps happening. It keeps happening. Like, I just think that's what you have to. Yeah. Look, there's no real right answer for how much time you have to give yourself to, because Sav said it, everyone said it, everyone's journey is different, but if you can start making money within a year, I think you're doing really well. Like there are guys out there who are just they're the outliers who do extremely well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you might get into it. Might not be you either. It might be like shit market conditions. But at the same time, be realistic with yourself. Is it you or is it the market? Are your peers doing well when you're not?
Good point.
I think you have to sort of look, I guess that's a double-edged sword. Don't compare yourself too much, like with people who have been trading for 2 years when you've just started full-time trading. If that makes sense, don't compare yourself to them so much. Yep. Compare yourself to the guys who have just started in the same time. Get a network going. It's a tough question. There's no real answer, but I think like if someone had a gun to my head and said how much capital do you have to live for a year, to live for, I reckon give it at least a year before you start making money.
Yeah. Thanks guys. Sorry, Sam.
Appreciate it. Do not stress at all. I appreciate you. Thank you.
No, I'm glad.
Thank you, Leona.
Here, mate. Have a good weekend, all yours.
Yeah, you too, mate.
Cheers, brother.
All right, boys. I think we might wrap it up there. Pretty solid stint. Erwan, Josh. Look, guys, I really appreciate your time. Obviously, 2 hours of your time just to kind of have a chat and open up about some of your experiences is a fairly solid commitment. So I'm sure everyone that's been listening at home really appreciated it, and I appreciate it a lot. So thank you both of you.
Mate, and
thank you for having us, mate.
Thank you for organising this. I think this is a lot of value to added to the community.
Yeah,
cheers, man.
I'm impressed by what we did tonight. Like, I probably rambled a little bit. Someone actually was blowing me up, like on Twitter. I saw someone comment going,
You can't please everyone. That's
literally as I'm giving my fucking heartfelt speech, you're talking about yourself too much, Sav. Aren't you meant to be interviewing Erwan and Josh?
No. Look, I always love a good euphemism or metaphor, and I think if you're giving someone a 6-inch when they've had a 4, they're going to be so happy. But if they've had a 9, they're not going to be impressed, are they?
I can relate to that big time.
Oh, what a way to conclude this.
Talking about he's doing well. Don't stress about that.
All right, guys. Look, I'll finish with this note here. And I pumped my book right at the beginning of the show, and I'm going to pump it one more time before we leave. I know everyone's had at least a couple of beers while they've been listening to this. Maybe a couple little sippies on the bread. Maybe a couple.
Oh yeah.
Maybe a couple of Ongbays. Everyone's been punching them. I would just say tonight when you jump off, Savilian. There's a song called Showdown. It's my new single. Go have a listen. Play it loud. Make sure everyone can hear it. And let me know what you think. I promise you it's...
Mate, I'll put it in the pre-library.
I promise you it's a banger. I promise you. You guys will enjoy it. But that's it. That's it for pumping me book tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in to Trading Spaces episode 3. This has been Savilian here, your host, Joshy Evans and Erwan Camaret. And
thank you. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup. Parlez-vous français?
Everyone have a beautiful weekend and look after yourselves out there. I'll probably catch you all next week.
Cheers, man. Cheers, guys. See you later.
Peace.